This is a shirt from Birds of Prey. And, you know, I was excited to get it. And I was afraid also to get it because I pass so well nowadays that I'm not sure if I can actually wear this shirt. I got it from a Spencer's, number one, which is not surprising. But number two is like, are people just gonna think I'm a douchebag? I have to be very selective about where I wear this shirt. It even smells like a Spencer's. You know how Spencer's has that smell? It's like incense. It's like incense and like if you made Hot Topic a fuckboy. Harley Quinn is going through what Spider-Man went through around 2017. We got Spider-Verse, the PS4 game, and Tom Holland to grace our faces. What a good boy. What just a fucking perfect Spider-Man. We got these three things, and Spider-Man was just blowing up for a while. Not that he was just blowing up, not that, you know, he was popular, but there was legit good content coming out of this franchise. All three of these things just blew everyone out of the water and had distinctly different storylines, different Peter Parkers, different ways that we could take this character and make him cool and unique. And all three of them did a wonderful job in my opinion. Now we have Margot Robbie, we have the very, very good Harley Quinn cartoon, and I'm waiting on a third thing. The prophecy hath been foretold. What is the third thing that's coming that's gonna fucking blow all our minds? I'm waiting for it. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. I think that's the name of the movie. It has a very good title, and I'm probably fucking it up. No, did I get it? Harley Quinn movie.
Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey is a 2020 movie directed by Kathy Yan.
No, I want to know what the actual title is.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Tell me. No. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Okay. For a second, I thought it was Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harleen Quinzel, which I think is a better title, but you can't do that with new people. They need to know who Harley Quinn is, you know? Anyway, this movie is what it says it is. It is the emancipation of Harley. This is going to be spoilers for Birds of Prey. In case you didn't know, if you want to go see it and then come back to this video, feel free. Go, I can't control you. You can do whatever you want. You can even not watch this video if you want. I've made it. It's out in the universe and people are going to see it. You might not be one of the people who sees it. But if you're not going to watch my review, please go watch the movie because spoiler alert, I liked it. Harley goes through this movie and no one is taking her seriously. The entire movie is just no one taking Harley seriously. And Harley talks about that in the beginning of the movie. She's sitting there with Black Canary and she's like, do you know what a Harlequin is? And she goes through this thing where a Harlequin is just, it's the definition of a woman in most movies and media, I guess, and life. Because of our culture, people only judge a woman based on like the dude that is in charge of her. As someone who is assigned female at birth, yes, I fucking get it. And it's basically Harley trying to establish herself as her own person. Because she's been in this awful, toxic, codependent relationship with the Joker for so long, she needs to become a villain on her own and figure out, like, what's her thing? Which is also the plot to the very good Harley Quinn cartoon that you should absolutely watch. I cannot recommend it enough. It's on the DC streaming site, and I would never suggest that you find it in another way because that is illegal. Sorry, I just had a stroke for a second there. My eyes were going crazy. But if you could borrow it from a friend just to see it. But I mean, YouTube has the first episode for free, I believe. At least it did when I was trying to check it out. Watch the first episode, and if you don't love it, don't watch the rest because you won't like the rest. But like the first episode it's so good. This is not what this video was going to be about, but oh my god, I love the Harley Quinn cartoon so much. It's like drawn together if it was woke, if that makes sense. Just give it a try. Okay, back to this Harley Quinn. I saw this movie 3 times in theaters. Which is 2 times more than I thought I was going to see it. I saw it once with some of my TFS boys while I was in Texas. I saw it a second time because there was a showing at like 10 p.m. at a theater near my place. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get like, should I go to this? I was tweeting about it, like, should I go to this showing where I'm just gonna have the whole theater to myself? And I was about to get my seats. I had selected my seats and there was an error. And I was like, what? So I refreshed it and someone, this fucking theater seat vulture, swooped in and got my exact seat, and out of spite I got a seat. I wanted to get the seat one away from him, but they wouldn't let me because they were like, There was a thing that popped up on the screen that was like, you can't get a seat unless it's right next to this random person you don't know, even though the rest of the theater is empty. So I got the seat next to him, and then I purposefully sat one seat away, and it was fucking great. I chronicled the whole thing on Twitter and Instagram, and it was a funny story, but fuck that guy. Actually, not fuck him. He turned out to be an alright guy, but he kept his phone on during the movie, and I don't like that. He only got like one text alert during it, but still, it pisses me off. Turn off your phone when you're in the movie. What are you doing? There's people there. I'm going to see A Quiet Place Part 2 in a couple of weeks, and I swear to God, if anyone's in that fucking theater and they make a loud crinkle with their fucking candy or they eat a popcorn, I will destroy them. I will hunt you down and I will take a shit on your carpet when you aren't home. I'm gonna take everything out of your freezer and spill a bunch of water and juice and wine in there and just shut the door. I'm going to bring fish to your house. I'm going to get a post-it note that says 1, and I'm gonna get a post-it note that says 3. I'm gonna duct tape the post-it note to one of the fish and the other post-it note to the other fish. I'm gonna hide them in separate vents in your house. And then for the rest of your fucking life, you are gonna be tearing that place apart trying to find the second goddamn fish. But guess what? There isn't a second goddamn fish. There was just a crazy person in your house. Crazy person being me. So don't fuck with me when I'm in my theater experience, okay? I'm insane. Anyway, the movie was good. Speaking of A Quiet Place Part 2, I got tickets for it and thought it was today. And I went to the theater and they ripped off my ticket, and I went in and I was like, hey, they say that this other movie's playing in this theater, and they looked at it and was like, hey, bud, this ticket is for 2 weeks from now. And I was like, cool, good to know, thank you. And I took it back, and I started to walk out. And I was like, fuck it, you know what? I cleared out my schedule. I'm here in the theater. What is playing? Guess what was playing? Harley Quinn. Saw it for a third time, motherfucker. Let me just start off as an assigned female at birth person. This movie is fucking... I love it. I love it. Just not talking about it from a technical perspective, just from me growing up in an environment that I couldn't see myself in media. I've always loved acting and writing, but I didn't think that I could do it as a career when I was growing up because I didn't see myself in anything. I was always going to be background characters and shit. I was always going to be the secondary. I would have to get a different pen name so people would take me seriously. Turns out, didn't have to. Turns out I was a dude, but it's fine. I sit in this theater and I see like 3 different trailers for female superheroes and female-centered movies where girls are actually funny and smart and talented. There's the Wonder Woman movie that takes place in the 80s. I forget the name of. There's a Black Widow movie. There's a movie where it's a rom-com and the woman is actually like funny and a person of color. And it's like, what the fuck? This is great. And then the movie plays and it's this cool, super queer, super diverse, woman-directed, woman-written fucking film. And I've never felt more powerful. Like walking out of the first Wonder Woman in theaters, I was so fucking jazzed to like exist and make content. And that's what's most important to me in a movie. I have a weird taste in movies, but this one got me jazzed because it's just fun. This is a fun movie. I just want a fun fucking superhero / supervillain movie. It's fun to watch. I had a fun time. The choreography is great. It's super cartoony. And that's difficult to do, is make a cartoony action thing with real life people. With the Harley Quinn cartoon, the violence and the choreography is like, it's easier to do because you can animate it. You can make a cartoon look like a cartoon. It's not a stretch. But with real life people, it can be a little more difficult because how do you do cartoon physics in a fight scene? But they manage it fucking great. Margot Robbie is an absolutely perfect Harley Quinn. I love her weird cartoony expressions. She keeps doing this thing where like, you know, she'll look at the camera and just go like, you know, or like just like do something with her eyebrows that is so fucking Harley Quinn. And I absolutely adore her in the role. She's perfect. Side note, Margot Robbie, total fucking badass. I knew nothing about her going in, and then I watched the Hot Ones episode with her. Go check that out. Watch all of Hot Ones. I'm recommending so much stuff to you. It's homework. Write this down. Hot Ones, she talks about how like she was on a soap opera. She learned how to hold her breath for 5 minutes so they could shoot a scene in Suicide Squad. That's fucking insane. She's just a goddamn badass for like so many reasons, and I had no idea before even watching this movie. But yeah, the film is super queer. It's full of super queer characters. The movie starts with this animated backstory for Harley where she goes like, I was a kid and then I was this and then that happened. And she's going through her breakups and is established bi or pan or, you know, into women as well as men. Within the first, literally maybe the first 2 minutes of the movie, that is that's done. That's established. And I was so fucking psyched to see that. Holy shit. They are explicit in their queerness. They're not shying away from it, which is wonderful. Well, in most of the cases, but we'll get back to that. Montoya's ex-girlfriend is played by Ali Wong, and I totally missed that they were exes the first time I saw the movie because it's done so naturally. I just wasn't paying attention. I was just like paying attention to like other things and thinking about something else, I think, while that dialogue was happening. But that's one of the things that this movie excels at, is just natural diversity. It's not like a big, they're just like, it happens so naturally. They're talking about Montoya, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, this is her ex-girlfriend. And then like the scene continues. I'm like, that's great. And they have a relationship where you don't even have to see what they were in the past when they were dating. You can see there is this tension between them. Through their dialogue and their body language, you can see this whole history of, oh shit, we dated, it didn't end well. Just in how they talk and interact. And it's great. Some of the other main females might be queer as well, but right now we have established 2 out of the main 5 girls are queer. That's crazy. That's great. And it's done so naturally and coolly that like fuck, I love that. The soundtrack is great. It's all super female driven. I actually listen to it regularly. I've added 2 or 3 of the songs from the soundtrack into my my playlist that I just listened to. And you know what's great about it also? Guys like it. Guys like this movie. I keep seeing this movie with dudes, and they're really impressed with it. One of my friends put it well. He said that this movie is what they wanted Suicide Squad to be, but they needed to change some elements. They needed to tweak it so much in order for it to be this. I left Suicide Squad thinking, damn, Harley Quinn was the best part of this movie. I wish that it was just a Harley Quinn movie. And you know what? They gave it to us. And what's sad about this is it's getting good reviews, but I'm really doubtful that it's going to get a sequel, and that fucking sucks. Just with the history of female-led, this seems too good to be true. It's queer, it's diverse, it's actually good. There's no way this gets a sequel. And that sucks that I have to think that way. I hope I'm proven wrong. I really hope I'm proven wrong. Harley is insane. She's narrating the movie, and she's not a reliable narrator. So she tells the story out of order and then has to go backwards. And you know what? I loved that. I thought it was corny at first, and then I realized, you know what? No, this rocks. Because this is exactly how someone like her would tell a story. She even gets like punched in the face, and there's this like this dreamlike sequence where she's kind of out of it, where it turns into a musical number. It's a parody of Marilyn Monroe's Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, and she's like in a dress and she's dressed all fancy, and there's like it's so, I loved it because it's so fucked up. It's not a whole, you know, musical number that goes in order. It starts as a musical number, and then it gets more and more twisted and violent as it goes on, and then all of a sudden there's just gunshots, and it's like it gets all morphed and fucked up, and like you're not sure if she's conscious or not, and then she wakes up. And I loved that. Everyone did such a good job. I'm in love with Huntress. Like, if I could feel romantic attraction, I would marry her in an instant. I forget the actress's name, but she's Ramona Flowers, and I didn't know that until afterwards, but looking at her, I was like, oh yeah! But no, she's great. If I was a weird incel, I'd be like, she's my Ramona Flowers. Ewan Gregor is great as Black Mask. He's just this like cringy white dude, and he's great in the role. Weird and dramatic and spoiled and like anger issues. I enjoyed it a lot. There's a scene where he's showing Black Canary all of these like tribal masks and shit and shrunken heads, and it's so fucking cringy every time because it's this white dude just calling like an African tribe like dirty and stuff, and it's so fucking cringy because she's just like, oh no, this is so bad. And I cringe every time, and that's good acting, you know, that Ewan can make me so uncomfortable. Also, the scene where he makes the girl get on the table and like rip off her dress and stuff is so fucking uncomfortable. It makes me physically like tense up every time it happens because I believe it, because I believe he is this fucking sociopath, and that's great. That's good acting. Zaz is wonderful too. I saw Chris, I forget his last name, but I love how I keep saying I forget if that's real or if that's the right name or whatever. I could just look it up, but I'm not going to because I've already committed. I saw a bit of the Mindy Project, and he plays a character in that, and I didn't know it was him until afterwards, and that's fucking great. Not that an actor's performance has to totally make me forget that it's the actor in order for it to be good, but it's always cool when it does. But he's fucking haunting as Zaz, like very, I loved everyone's performance except one, which we'll get to later. The movie's very self-aware. It makes fun of itself a lot, which I appreciate, because with a movie like this, you kind of have to. It's cartoony. and you need to be able to make fun of what's happening in the movie if you're gonna do something like this. They make fun of Montoya's dialogue. They make fun of Harley getting like a shoe change, so she's on skates. A line that makes me laugh all 3 times that I've seen the movie, still very funny and makes everyone in the theater laugh, is when Huntress is in the slide, she kills that guy and lands at the bottom. She's like, what? And Harley just looks at her and goes, you are so cool. That is, I love that, because she is. That's what we're all thinking, because all of these characters are like weird and cartoony and superhero-ish or super villainish in their own ways, and yet they feel like they're from different franchises. Like, they're, to me at least, they feel like they're all different kinds, and like, why are they in the same room together? This seems weird, but like in a good way, because the script allows them to blend in, you know, with each other fine. But if you were to separate them and say it feels like a crossover, it feels like Spider-Verse did. I feel like that's a good way to put it. You have Spider-Ham, you have like Noir, Spider-Man, you got like all these fucking different guys and girls, because you have Penny, and they feel like they're different Spider-Men because they are from different universes, and then they come together and it works. That's kind of how this situation is, because Huntress is like this badass, socially awkward because she didn't have friends like at a certain point after childhood, weird character, and she's put in here with like a cop and an insane clown. I guess this is the insane clown posse, huh? Jesse, add a laugh track so they think you're funny. Thank you. Huntress is great. I've said that already. I'm gonna say it again. But it was a fun movie. It was just a fun movie. That's what I've wanted for so long. It's just fun. Just give me fun. Give me a fun supervillain, superhero, whatever movie. Not everything in the DCU has to be this super dark, gritty fucking fuckfest. Everything is tragic and bad. The darkness is a metaphor for darkness. That's one of my favorite lines from BoJack. Without the Harley Quinn cartoon being a thing, if I had just seen this movie, the Birds of Prey movie, it would get me excited to see more of this character. And I think that's the main goal of, you know, a piece of media like this, is to make this character appealing, that make me want to see more of this character. And that's what this movie did. And that's what it set out to do, a thing, and it did a thing. That makes it good in my book, even though it also had problems. Speaking of which, I think I've sucked this movie's dick enough. Let's talk about what I didn't like. The first time that I saw this movie, I remember that the first third seemed to drag a little bit, which is natural in most movies. It's a common error, because you're setting things up, you're establishing things. You know, what has Harley been up to? Who are all these characters? You need to do it in, you know, sometimes things are exposition-y and you need to just tackle them. So I don't fault the movie for that, because the other times that I saw it, the second and third time, it didn't drag for me. Harley narrates the movie and like kind of goes into things, you know, in just kind of a conversational way. And that's great. But when you have an actor do a bunch of stuff in live action and then come over for some ADR dubbing, is that a double negative? Do I have to say ADR recording, ADR dubbing? Well, I'm a voice actor. I should know this. I think it's just ADR. Everything else feels weird. It's like when your mom calls every video game system a Nintendo. Anyway, when you're not in the headspace anymore, when you've taken a couple days and now you're doing this ADR, sometimes you're not in the right mode to do it. So sometimes Harley's ADR sounds a little disingenuous, I guess. I can't do a Harley Quinn impression, so this is gonna be bad, but you know, she's just trying to be quirky. You know, this is me. I'm doing this. This is the Mr. J. You know, like just kind of sounds like she's being quirky to be quirky. Like that's the point of it. It's the most fake that I've heard Harley sound. It's especially prevalent in like the first bits of dialogue in the movie where she's narrating over the cartoon. This is me. I was an orphan. My dad tried to get rid of me. Ba 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 ba. And she's hitting the beats, and the written dialogue I'm sure is fine, but the way she's delivering it just feels fake. And it sucks because I don't want to comment on this because she's a young actress and she's starting out, but the thing that most sticks out to me is Ella J. Bosco's acting. And it sucks because like I love that she's in this movie. I love like a Korean Filipino actress getting her first like big role. This is like fucking great for her, but half the time she can't act. Half the time it's fine, but the other half of the time it's so cringy. Like as a child actor, maybe I'm just pickier with other child actors, but half the time I'm just like, I'm going into acting coach mode where I'm like watching this film and just being like, I'm giving notes to her in my head because I want her to succeed. She's she's great. I want her to succeed. And hopefully being in this movie is a good experience for her, and she can like learn and become a better actress in the future. But as it is right now, I want to like her so badly that I think it's blinding my actual judgment of her acting. Because you have her working with Margot Robbie, who's like hamming it up and doing a great fucking job as Harley, and then Cassandra's acting just kind of makes the whole scene just kind of lag. It kind of ruins any momentum that they have going, and that sucks. But I have faith in her, and hopefully this was a good, it'll put her in the public eye, and I want her to do better in the future. Also, yes, she is related to that Bosco, Dante Bosco, Zuko. He is her godfather, I believe. The last thing is a little mixed, and I'm sure people are going to be mixed on it. There is a lot of queer coding going on with Black Mask and Zaz. And when you see Ewan and Chris in interviews, they're like super close buddy-buddy. There's an interview where Chris is like, his arm is like around Ewan, and they're just kind of like chilling. And Chris gives him a kiss on the cheek before the interview starts. They've become very close because of the filming of this movie. And they've talked about how that is reflected kind of in the relationship between the characters. Apparently there was some stuff that was leaked before where Black Mask was supposed to be very like camp and like very gay, quote unquote. And luckily that seems to, you know, maybe the leak, maybe someone, this is just my theory because I make things and I know how this works. Maybe someone was like, this is going to be the death of us. This is not good representation at all. This is going to suck and people are going to be mad about it. So maybe it got leaked on purpose so that they would change it. But Ewan plays Black Mask as, you know, campy and just like he's soaking in all of the dialogue and all of the scene. He's a scene stealer. I liked that. And Zaz and Black Mask have this like this chemistry, this sexual tension the whole movie. And when you have other explicitly queer characters in the movie, it's like, why didn't they do it? Why didn't you just go for it, you know? Just say they're gay, say they're bi, do a something. But this is where I'm gonna lose people, maybe. I liked it. I was fine with having this sexual tension between these two characters, and maybe they just never said it out loud. And I'm fine with that, and that happens a lot in life where there are these, you know, you have a relationship with someone and there is a sexual tension and there is a need for that person, you know, because Zaz is like obsessed with Black Mask, and Chris, his actor, talks about it in interviews and stuff. He's obsessed with this like this anarchy, this power that Black Mask has. Roman is very inseparable from Zaz, and Zaz feels like Zaz says in the movie that he feels like he needs to protect Roman. He's always on the lookout for what is best for him, and they have this very codependent, very toxic, bad relationship. They both enable each other, and that's much like a regular romantic relationship. But yeah, Ewan and Chris have been in interviews and someone was like, are they gay? And they kind of like, this is just me interpreting the interview, so this could be wrong. But the way I view it is they seem like they want to say that their characters are gay, but they don't want to upset any studios or anything. The guy asks the question and they kind of look at each other and are like, well, they have an interesting, it's complicated. It's a complicated relationship. And then eventually Ewan is like, yeah, they probably are. Like, he just like says it. And people were upset about that because, you know, we got explicit gay representation in this movie. Why didn't you, like, you coward, why didn't you go for it with these two characters? And they could have if they wanted to, because we have this history of queer coding villains, and, you know, that sucks. But the way that you solve that problem is, well, what was the problem in the past? There's this whole cis-het cast. There's one gay character and he dies. There's one gay character and he's evil. There's one gay character, you know? But with a film like Harley Quinn, a lot of the characters are queer, so you can get away with having a villain who is gay, because that's what Steven Universe did. That's how Steven Universe gets away with having queer-coded villains, because everyone in Steven Universe is fucking gay. That's how you do it. You sprinkle us all through the material, and then it's not a horrible thing when the villain turns out to be gay, because everyone's fucking gay. So I understand why people were upset about Zaz and Black Mask not explicitly being in a relationship, But I kind of liked that. I liked that it was never said. And, you know, that's just my opinion, and you're free to have yours. But as a pansexual trans dude, I'm in the community. I'm deep diving. I'm straight fisting it, bro. And in my opinion, I liked that there was this tension and this obsession with each other that is never explicitly said, or rather not said to each other. They never say they love each other, at least, you know, in the film. Could have been said off screen, we don't know. But I kind of like that. I don't know. I've talked in depth a lot with friends about what our perfect movies are. Now, a perfect movie does not mean the best movie you've ever seen. A perfect movie means, what does this movie set out to do, and does it do it well? Examples of perfect movies, in my opinion, are Mean Girls and Back to the Future. Something where they have a style, they have something that they set out to do, like I said, and they accomplish that. Is Harley Quinn a perfect movie? No. Does it know what it's doing, know its audience well, puts women in positions of power in the process of production and everything, and get pretty dang close to being a perfect film? Yes. And again, perfect film does not mean perfect film. Perfect film means, did we accomplish what we set out to do? And I do. I believe it's pretty dang close. God, when am I gonna wear this shirt again? I don't think I can wear this shirt anywhere, huh? This is a sleepy time shirt. This is a nighttime shirt that I only wear in bed. I'm just kidding. You folks know I don't wear shirts. When the camera isn't rolling, I'm shirtless all the time. I'm barely wearing clothes. These pecs cost $12K and a lot of working out, okay? I'm gonna get my money's worth. Anyway, go see Harley Quinn if it's still in theaters. Give it a watch, give it a Blu-ray, a rental, whatever. Buy the merch. This is a funnier shirt if you are a femme presenting person. Hopefully, people don't think I'm a douche. I do a well enough job of looking like a douche on my own. I don't need help. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Thank you so much to my wonderful patrons. Without you, this video wouldn't be possible. I just wanted to give a literal shout outs to some of my patrons because that's a tier you can get on my Patreon. Steve Streza, Luke Rizik, Alex Perusco, Jean-Baptiste Rossi, Dan McRae, Alex Bonner, Brigittawa, Arlette, Super Luigi, Babelbon, Joe, Ross Powers, Sam Bartram, Daniel Gormley, Murray Byrne, Fritz Roll 732, Shane Carus, Stefan, or Steven. How do you pronounce it? I have a friend who pronounces it Stefan with an A. Whoever you are, thank you. EPAM, Spartan 5781, and Dan Millington. Thank y'all so much.